Well, hello and welcome to this week's video on the Resto Saga Classic Car Restoration YouTube channel. And this week we're here to talk about the Land Rover, the 1976 Land Rover Series 3. Now, a couple of weeks ago I put a video up announcing that I was going to start a restoration on this, and while that remains sort of true, I have sort of changed my mind about how that restoration is going to go. When I say restoration, the vehicle is going to get freshened up. I do plan on changing the colour of the side panels at the back and the roof, which are hopefully going to match the wheels, and they're going to be cream. This saves me a bit of money because I can't really afford at this time to do a real good respray, so I'm going to paint these and the original limestone, which will hopefully make the whole vehicle match in a bit better. I'm also going to do a bit of a camper van version in the back, or a day van, and I'm going to talk to you a wee bit more about that in a little second. So let's get the Land Rover moved outside and take it for a drive, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So here we are, moved the Land Rover outside, and we're going to have a bit of a chat. I'm going to show you what my plans are. Why, I hear you ask, am I changing my plans? Well, I have a little son and he absolutely loves being in the Land Rover, and if I take it off the road for a number of years, which is what it's going to take because I work full time, he's going to miss out on it and I'm not going to get to use it. It's perfectly usable, it works perfectly well, it's well maintained. I'm sure you'll agree if you've seen all the videos I make about it. So why not just use it as it is and make it into something slightly different. So I'm going to have a wee chat now about what I'm going to do to make it into a day van, and then develop it from a day van into a camper van as time goes on. At the minute, my son's a little small to sleep in a camper van overnight, but in a day van you can have meals, you can take it out for day trips, and then as a camper van, as he gets a bit older, maybe go sleeping in it and go for longer trips. So let's show you in the back, because that's really where the main first bit is going to take place. So this being the short wheelbase Land Rover, obviously the room in the back of it is slightly limited. You have these two seat boxes, and this vehicle being the utility never came with seats in the back. So what I'm going to do is fit a bench seat down this side, so that'll be two extra seats. I'm going to keep the two in the front. I don't plan to fit one in the middle because I'm not really sure how usable it would be with gear sticks and so on there, and I have a good cubby box to keep my valuables out of sight. So bench seat in the back. Other things I'm going to plan to do is tidy the whole thing up. Whenever I restored this, all I did was put a bit of black hammerite down. I never really smoothed the metal down, primed it, did anything like that. And there's some horror stories under this mat that I'll show you in a little second. The other thing I'd like to do is this piece of wood, which is laminated, and it came off an old desk, so it was free. Somehow, if I can set that up there, make a table out of it, maybe with a leg down this end, that if you're sitting in the back, or maybe even sitting in the front, you can move around. You can use it as a bit of a table, say if you're going to eat a meal or a quick snack in the back on the go. The nice thing about it is, sorry, this is difficult to do one-handed, it fits very nicely. Sitting up on here, if I can make some toggles that'll swing down and hold it up there, and some little rubber pads to stop any din or noise, well, that could work quite well, and I'll have to tidy out these holes on the back, but they'll be easily filled in and painted over. So I need to work out the exact workings of that, but that's the general idea. Thinking then about the back door. This back door has seen better days. It's rusty along the bottom. I couldn't afford a new one whenever I did it up, and they've actually got more expensive since, which is slightly annoying, but it does work, and if I get a bit of money together, I'll maybe buy myself a nice new one. The plan here would be, as with the rest of it, add some insulation down the side panels over the roof, just to keep it warmer and a bit more quiet. Also a bit of insulation in the back door and the two side doors, but I've seen a very nice sort of folding kitchen arrangement from Front Runner. Now again, it's quite expensive, but bolts onto the door, folds down flat, and then you can put your stove down, and there's a little chopping board comes out the side. They also make a nice little utensils roll which will hang off the top of the door. So two things that I think would really set it off and be good from the day van point of view, and as it develops into the camper van, I think that would be good too. Right, now let me lift this floor mat here and we'll talk about what surprises lie underneath it. Look at the mess. So the floor is aluminium, which is the silver you can see through, and it's really quite nasty and cheesy in places. The floor itself is fairly solid, but my grandfather, who was the first owner of this Land Rover, was a farmer, obviously carried lots of potatoes and so on the back, so it's probably weakened the floor. And there's a little hole actually here underneath that reinforcement panel. So what I would try to do is take that reinforcement panel off, repair the hole. When I did restore the Land Rover, I put new cross beams in. They're looking a bit sad, so they could do with probably sandblasted and powder coated. And also there are sort of longitudinal reinforcing beams as well, which have sort of rotted in between. And when I say rot, it is aluminium, but it's more like a bimetallic corrosion reaction with the steel cross members. So I had looked into buying a new floor. They're quite expensive. A decent one's probably about £180 with the longitudinal reinforcing members already in. That's a lot of money, and I'm trying to keep cost low but quality high. So what I'm going to do is take that off, repair the hole, take the steel cross members out, get them fixed, and then repair the reinforcement panels, or the reinforcement beams which are on longitudinal, and that'll add a bit of strength, because there's no point in putting seats in and tables in and all this lovely stuff if the floor is going to be no good. So that is going to require a bit of work. Also, it's not going to be black anymore, it's going to go cream. As you know, I fully intend to make this Land Rover back to the original limestone, and in order to do that it cannot remain black. So quite a lot of paint stripper is going to be used, tidy all this area out, make it cream, and then I'm going to even look into a Raptor type coating, which is like a, I don't know if you're fully aware of it, if you've used it yourself, but it's a polyurethane based spray on, which is very resilient and it's good for pickup truck beds, and will hopefully seal some of the din, noise, and maybe even a bit more water resistance in here as well. So lots of plans in the back. In terms of mechanical preparation for use as a day van, eventual camper, long distance, I have an overdrive fitted. Yes, it's a 2 1/4 diesel, but it's fine. It works well. It's a bit thirsty, but then the vehicle is 40 something years old, nearly 50, so getting there. I've put the proper wheels and tires on, which definitely makes it better. I'm considering freewheeling hubs, although I'm aware that's a fairly contentious subject. I'm welcome for a lot of feedback on those as to whether I should be investing the money or not. I'm gonna have to get the spare wheel sorted, remounted on the bonnet. That wheel still needs to go off and get sandblasted, powder coated, and the spare tire, which I have sitting in the shed, needs to come out and get mounted on that as well. My absolute dream, as with many overland campers or Land Rover campers, is to put a roof tent on. Now, they're hugely expensive, and to be honest, in the UK they're probably not all that necessary, but I think they look really cool. And your tent's there, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to set it up. So you could move that roof bar back and mount a roof tent in the back, but they're about £1,000, which in the context of the vehicle is actually quite a lot. So I might need to put that one on hold for a while until there's a bit of money saved up. Like I said at the start, outside the roof is going to go cream to match the wheels, as are these side panels. Maybe a back door, as I said. Otherwise there's not a lot of structural stuff needs done. I have an overdrive and more sound deadening as well. I did the number plates, you can see a video on that also on the channel. I think they came up really well. Might consider around the front, if I take you around there, some LED 7-inch headlamps. They've definitely come down in price over the last few years, so I think that's something worth looking into. Some new lamps, most of these bulbs are already LED, but they all just needs tidied up. And in fact, I think this lens is a bit crack in it, so that needs looked at as well. Engine just needs a good service and a tune-up. I may take the cylinder head off. I'll show you underneath there now. Under here, the engine is always quite reluctant to start in the cold, and I know it's a diesel and I know it's old, but there's a lot of smoke comes out of it, and I'm aware that the valve stem oil seals in these can leak. So I think it might be worth taking the head off. This engine has never been opened in its entire life, because I know that because it's been in the family from new. So it might be worthwhile taking the head off, putting new cylinder head gasket on, getting the head skimmed and putting new valve stem oil seals in, but that's quite involved. Recently did the coolant, batteries up to date, fluids all need, well, the brake fluid I'm going to convert to silicone as well, make it a bit more usable. Just ongoing service. And the heater is going to come out and get resealed to the bulkhead, because I think that's why the heater's a bit lackluster. They don't need to be. People like to say that Land Rover heaters are rubbish, but they don't need to be. So that needs a bit of work too. So there you go, it's a bit of a walk around of the 1976 Land Rover Series 3 88-inch diesel. I've changed my plans from a full ground up restoration with lots of money spent to scaling it back a little bit, making it more usable, enjoying it as a day van, later on as a camper van, and doing some work in that direction as well. I hope you're going to keep tuned and follow me along this journey. The aim is to keep the cost low but quality high. Time I have plenty of, and I'm going to think everything out nice and carefully. I want you guys to send me your suggestions. I'm going to do lots of research as well and show you my different ideas along the way. So if you want to keep up to date, hit the subscribe button down in the corner there, give us me a thumbs up, and fire me all the comments you like. I reply to them all, I read them all, and I'm happy for any constructive feedback. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you can check out my other projects, such as the Toylander, which is a miniature Land Rover built to match this one. Also for my son, I have a 1969 MGB GT, which recently had its 50th birthday, and I have a 1954 Morris Minor as well, and lots of other things coming along as well in 2020, as I've alluded to in my other videos. So once again, hit the subscribe button, give me a like, fire me a comment, and I'll catch you all again next week. Thanks for watching.